So this video is actually made by Tim Bagnall. Tim is a technician from Arizona, and he pointed out to me that he had done a lot of testing with flowing nitrogen at very low flow rates, so 3 to 5 SCFM, which is just, you can't even feel it coming out when you're flowing it. And he was saying he had really good luck with it, and so he wanted to do some videos showing if you don't flow nitrogen, if you do, if you really overheat it. He also wanted to show the use of solder rings, because we had talked about that in previous podcasts. So Tim, I appreciate you doing this. This is all of his work that he did in his shop. And word to any of you out there who listen to the podcast or who watch the channel, if there's anything that you want to shoot a video on your iPhone or whatever that you think might be beneficial to others, just shoot it. You can send it to me raw, and I'll edit it and make it into something that will help other technicians. So I hope you enjoy.
We all have some scrap copper around, and that's what I'm using. Pretty sure everyone's got a bucket like this somewhere. Bunch of old parts. That's what I'm going to use. The stick of Harris Zero I found in an attic. Figured I'd try it out. See what that does. Back in business. This is 15%. The inside is already very, very black. That's a lot of scale. That's a lot of junk in there. Think about that, those flakes going through one of those. It'll get clogged up real quick, or even one of those. Just start clogging it up. flowing nitrogen. Ball is floating. Alright. Start the first joint with a stick of Harris Zero I found in an attic with nitrogen. Second joint is Sil-Fos 15. Next joint is Blockade. Next joint is Blockade FC. Last one, Safety-Silv, right on. That's the first time I've tried any of those with the flux on them. Let's see what happens. Probably the wrong use and torch setup, but we'll see what it looks like inside. One's 0, 15, Blockade, blue, and the orange. With nitro. Super clean. Not really fond of those. Make sure it's good and clean. Take the swage tool. Open it up. A little bit more. Good tight fit. Good tight fit there. Use these Sil-Fos rings. Got a towel here. And I made up this piece so that it can actually be purging while it's flowing. So it's very similar to a system that has the other port open. And using the Sil-Fos rings, put that guy right in there. That guy in there. We'll turn on the nitro. All the way down to 5-ish SCFM. Just noticed a bunch of flakes falling out the bottom as I was cutting it. That's awesome. So the Sawzall knocked a lot of the scale off of there. Still not as clean as with nitro. But if you get those rings too hot, they won't wick up the joint. The gravity will bring them down. So, nice and clean. Perfect. Alright, got that one. Got this one. We're going to clean that up really good. Got another ring. Ring in there. Turn off the nitro. Well, that's how you make flakes. Get it really freaking hot.
right, so the first thing that I have to say again is that the amount of time that Tim took on this is just ridiculous. I mean, to go through and do what he did with the multiple layers and all the different things that he thought of, I just appreciate Tim Bagnall for doing this. Thank you, Tim. And the next thing I just want to go through just a quick summary here. He used a lot of different types of rods. Whenever you have a flux-coated rod, that's really for dissimilar metals. So that's if you're going copper to brass, copper to steel, something like that. But he did it just for example's sake, so you could see the different, how they worked with copper to copper. But in general, if you're working copper to copper, you can do 5, 10, 15. You don't have to use flux-coated rod, and a lot of people do use 0. The issue is, and this is what you saw, is that the hotter you get the tubing, the more you make flakes. Now, again, if you have completely displaced the oxygen inside the lines, and you don't have to worry about it, it's perfectly clean. And you don't have to worry as much about heat control, but obviously you need to worry about heat control for other reasons. And he showed that, especially with the solder rings, he showed that if you don't have good heat control and good heat placement, then instead of wicking the solder up into the joint, it can actually fall down into the joint. And that's true of regular solder as well. So you want to make sure that you have good heat control for other reasons, but flowing nitrogen at proper rates does actually give you a better chance at not making flakes, even if you don't have exactly perfect heat control. Obviously, for anybody who wants to criticize Tim, yes, I know he wasn't using a striker. I prefer the use of a striker over a lighter for safety reasons. And, he was doing this in his garage, so he doesn't have all of his proper safety equipment. So always, if you're actually doing this in real life, follow proper safety procedures, and only if you're a professional. So this isn't for DIY people. This is for professionals, professional HVAC technicians. If you have any videos that you'd like to create, I would love you to send them to me, and I'd be happy to produce them in a similar way that I produced this and kind of add some commentary to them. And so all you have to do is just email me, Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, at hvacrschool.com. While we're on that subject, if you go to hvacrschool.com, you can subscribe to the podcast. You can subscribe to our daily tech tips, where almost every day, including weekends, I try to get out a tech tip. These are things I write. So I actually sit down and write these tech tips based on my experience, as well as things that I've learned along the way through books and training courses that I've gone to. If you're interested in contributing to tech tips, I would also like that if you're into writing, which there doesn't seem to be a lot of people into writing. I'm not even into writing either, but unfortunately, I have to be if I'm going to do HVAC school, right? Finally, I would ask that you subscribe to the podcast. Now, the podcast is just audio. It's not video. And a lot of people ask, why would you do just audio? Well, the reason is because as technicians, we spend a lot of time driving. And it's a great opportunity for us to consume some content that it can only be done with the audio format. Of course, you can listen to audio on YouTube videos, and I've done that a lot too. But if it's not designed for audio, then a lot of times they're talking about things that you can't see, and that creates an issue. So on the podcast, we specifically talk through topics and about things that you can learn from even if you're not seeing it. That's the idea. It's not, again, nothing that I do here replaces getting your hands on the work and actually doing it. So don't hear me wrong in that regard. You actually have to do the work in order to be good at doing what we do day in and day out. But my hope is that I can help especially junior technicians, or maybe those technicians who never got a full grasp of the theory, help them take it to the next level. So thank you for being here. We'll see you next time in our next video, or on the podcast if you go there, for HVAC School. Have a good one.